Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Ranting Shop with me, Melissa. And today I'm gonna be reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 4, Episode 11, Mission Impossible, Road to Utah. Now, this is not Utah, the state. This is Utah, Alabama. So, in fact, for Tiffany, it is closer than we ever thought, like her search would be. Anyway, so she's really nervous about going to inform her adopted parents that she wants to find out who her real dad is. Now, they're both heartbroken, but it seems like more so the dad, because he feels that if she goes ahead and finds her biological parent, she's gonna abandon them, and I guess it's not necessarily that, it's more so that she just wants to know where she came from. According to her, it's strictly biological. She's already had some leads on who her possible dad could be, but it turns out that was not an accurate guess from her mom. So I hope that her journey is gonna continue. I'm hoping that it's gonna be fruitful. I'm hoping that at the end she's gonna know who her dad is. Just for the basis of it would be to know their family genetic history, so as to maybe forecast if they're likely to get any disease. Maybe they could get ahead of it. Next scene, we see Miss Wanda, who's discussing with someone about this food truck. I'm guessing that person owns a food truck or is gonna be sending or renting out a food truck to Miss Wanda. And we see that Marceau comes and Tisha comes. And of course, Marceau is, as always, sarcastic. And Miss Wanda goes, I just want his money, essentially. So, doesn't like him, but wants his money. He also doesn't like her, but because that's Tisha's mom, he's willing to help her. This looks like it's gonna be where all their problems take place, whether it be at the end of the show or in the middle of the show. But let's see. So we see the stage of the food truck. It's a mess. It looks like a fixer-upper. It looks terrible, essentially. And Miss Wanda appears to be really proud of it for some reason. It looks like trash, to be honest. And the cost of it is apparently $40,000. And that's insane. Maybe that was the cheapest food truck that she could find. Who knows? But it definitely looks terrible. When Marceau said that they were not lending the money to her or giving it to her, that they were throwing the money out of the window, he was absolutely on the right track. And we will see that later. Because we have heard reviews from the food on the food truck, and people were saying that mostly everything on the plate wasn't really tasty. So it appears that Marceau was correct. And maybe he knows Miss Wanda more than her daughter does. So Marceau was like, if this vehicle starts, they're gonna just pay her the money immediately. I think he's so confident because he knows that the vehicle is not gonna start as per the owner's own opinion. So it's crazy. But again, I absolutely agree with Marceau. This just doesn't seem promising. And Tisha wants to just give her mom the money as opposed to loaning her the money, knowing very well that this may very well not be a good venture. I mean, the idea, I guess, is okay, but in regards to the execution of the food, I don't know if she knows what she's doing. So besides the fact that the vehicle doesn't move, Marceau is still skeptical. Tisha is adamant that he wants both of them to come to a decision to fund Miss Wanda's food truck. She doesn't care about anything else but funding Miss Wanda's food truck. And she doesn't think that Miss Wanda broke any marriage or attempted to break any marriage. I also don't think that Wanda's intention is to break up any marriage, but I definitely do feel as if her intentions are for her daughter's best interest. This car ride between Melody and Tiffany was too hilarious. So we found out that Tiffany's mom stopped talking to her after the man she suspected was Tiffany's dad turned out not to be Tiffany's dad. And I agree with Melody in that the mom probably felt really ashamed, because how does it make her look to her daughter knowing that the dad could have been any of maybe one of maybe 10 men or 15 men or 20 men. It doesn't really make her look good. And then Tiffany speaks about her relationship with her husband and introducing a baby. And as Melody and Kimmy said, if you already don't have time for a child, what makes you think that a child is gonna just allow you to create time? It's ridiculous. You barely spend time with your man, you barely have time to spend with your man, and you want an additional child that you have to really dedicate your full attention to. That's obviously gonna create a bigger strain on their relationship. I don't know why couples feel as if babies are supposed to fix their relationship, but it always makes it worse, because you have to communicate more, you have to understand. There needs to be more understanding that everyone's attention is on the baby and not so much on each other. So it takes a lot out of everything. So Tiffany was talking so much about her marriage, about how he gets what he needs sexually, even after she has a very long day and comes home late. And Melody starts to yawn, and eventually she gets bored and falls asleep. But before she does that, she says, listen to your husband, because if he tells you that he needs attention, you're not giving it to him. What makes you think a baby will shut him up or will make everything better? Listen to him, because as Melody says, he's gonna let you go out and he's gonna say he has the baby just because he doesn't want to go out with you. So make time for each other is ultimately the final decision. So the people at the historical area, I don't know what to call that type of place, historical work environment, they was basically telling Tiffany that, there's a possibility that one of her parents were lynched for being in an interracial relationship, and that would make her search more difficult. And then they leave the work area and they go to the street, and then they just happen to randomly find a guy that happens to know who Tiffany's mom is. And it sounds like Tiffany's mom was a little loosey-goosey back in the day and a little rebellious as well. She was already pregnant when the man met her. I don't know if he met her as in hi, bye, or if he met her as in he had a relationship with her. But it seems like she definitely got around. I don't know if she was a pleasure worker or if she was just a rebellious teen, but it's just really weird that this random man they found on the street knows her mom. Of course, I know that producers probably searched to find any connection to anybody there and they just set it up. But yeah, that's sad to know that your mom was a teen mom and your dad could literally be anyone and you have no idea who he is. So back to Miss Wanda, she holds this food tasting dinner for her family to try her food, and based on the feedback, she's thinking if it's favorable that Marceau may potentially fund her food truck. And this is where we see in the previews that eventually her family confronts Marceau about things he said previously on the show. Tisha comes in, greets some of the family members, and the most, the most weirdest thing that they chose to focus on was T-Man. T-Man is Tisha's brother, and he was introducing his favorite cousin to his partner. And for some reason, he felt like he needed to announce to one of his cousins that the woman was pregnant, and her reaction was so like taken aback, like she had no idea he was gonna spill her business that way, and so she wasn't ready for having to let everybody know. So then they go outside. She's like, I told you don't tell people like my business. Like, why would you tell them that? I already told you. So they're talking and whatever. Come to find out, T-Man is still married. He's still finalizing his divorce, which means he hasn't finalized it, which means he's still married. And before he got an opportunity to at least heal from that, he jumps back into a relationship and immediately gets the woman pregnant. And they just found out like a week ago. And no wonder she didn't want other people to know. It's because at that moment you don't know if there's gonna be any unfortunate events, like the baby could just not, it may just not come to full term, whatever the case may be. That's why people are so cautious and don't just rush and tell people that they're pregnant. They let it sit first, let it know, find out if everything is okay with the baby, then they announce it. T-Man seems to me like a very irresponsible person that should know better, but just chooses to act selfishly and in the moment, as opposed to looking at the long term and how it will affect him and his potential partner. Not Marceau telling Bernard, who is Tisha's cousin, to leave him alone. That was a hilarious moment to me. He just seems over the entire family. So we have a little bit of a tender moment with Tisha and her cousin. We find out that she's going through a divorce. First time Tisha is hearing about it. And I feel like a lot of people conceal divorces because they don't want other people to perceive them as a failure, especially when you're telling it to a married person. I mean, you feel a little bit ashamed, as if you lost or something, but actually things happen, and divorces are not something that is rare. It happens all the time. Not to take away from the effects of it, but it is something that happens. People grow in separate ways, people change, and you have to adjust to that. So that's just what it is. Turns out she has 5 kids and she's essentially a single mom now. I wish her the best. She seems really sweet. And yes, let's move on to Tisha's family continuing to pester Marceau about things that he said in the past. So there goes Marceau continuing to poke fun at Mr. Bernard because he keeps saying things wrong. Basically, he's taking them for a pappy show. Like, he's treating them like they're less than smart and less than, I don't know, they just don't make sense. So Marceau is again explaining himself to Tisha's family about whether that was him in the picture circulating social media or not. And he says everything except no, it wasn't me. What he does say is it's difficult to disprove. So he's looking for a way to disprove the rumors as a way to as opposed to shutting them down and simply saying it wasn't him. Now, the reason why he cannot say it wasn't him is probably because it was him. But he's looking for a more intelligent way to say that I guess he was there in certain regards, but that wasn't him. But the problem with Marceau is he never just says anything directly, because when you say something directly, it's definite, and somebody can go back and say, yes, you said A, B, C, and D, because it was very clear to interpret. What he does is goes around the way in regards to like explaining himself, so that when you do go back and check, there's no real answer to whatever question that you asked him. So in that way, he doesn't have to lie, but he doesn't have to tell you anything. So unlike Tisha, who is really quick to just let certain rumors go, I guess for the peace, for peace within her marriage, she's more willing to let these rumors go. But her family members are more hard on Marceau, and they're not believing what he's saying, and they're right to not believe him, because Even when one of the family members asked him, so are you saying that those rumors are a lie? He never says yes. He says they're baseless, which again doesn't mean that they're lies. It simply means that there's just not enough evidence to nail him to that alleged crime. And that's simply what it is. I was following everything that was being said until Marceau said this. He said, if I was really guilty, do you think I would say no, that wasn't me? And everybody's like, yes, and I agree. If you didn't do it, you would just simply say no. You wouldn't go around the yes or no question answer and ask them questions and say, if that were you, if that were him, if that were her, they would do A, B, C, and D. Because it's easy for you to do something irrational and then rationalize it and then use that same irrational behavior to ask people questions about, like, for example, you do something stupid like you, I don't know, you accidentally do something crazy, like something irrational, and you don't want to admit it, so you say, instead of answering the question yes or no, you would quicker ask, would you do something like that? And the answer would already be no, because it's something that is less than smart, and it's something that if you have common sense you wouldn't do. So it's easy to mess up and then ask people if they would do it like that, knowing that either they would mess up or knowing that whatever the case would happen, knowing full well that despite whatever question he's asking, he did the activity anyway. So I don't know. I absolutely agree that what Marceau is doing is low-key abusive. When Tisha asks him, did you do that? And he never answers her directly. All Tisha wants sometimes is reassurance from him, and he refuses to give that to her. That is literally abusive. And all the family members are saying is, if that is your wife and you're thinking of her best interest, you would ease her mind by just directly answering the question. And for some reason he cannot seem to grasp it, or maybe he can grasp it, but he simply cannot give her a direct answer because he is cheating. So Bernard is continuing to just stay on Marceau's neck. While Miss Wanda is like serving the food, T-Man feels like it's the perfect time to go to his mom and tell her, oh, I have another baby on the way, knowing full well he's still in the process of getting a divorce, not yet divorced, and he's talking about relying on the food truck. You shouldn't be relying on your mother's business. You should be a man and go look for other means of employment. What kind of ridiculous stuff am I hearing right now? And now Bernard is getting annoying. I actually don't know if it was a good idea for Marceau to invest in that food truck, considering how poorly people said it tasted. Of course, your family is going to be biased and you're gonna give you 100% positive reviews, knowing full well that your stuff doesn't taste good. So essentially, the family is not the most credible set of people to ask their opinion of like another family member's food stuff. It's starting to seem as if the entire family is relying on Miss Wanda's food truck, which is really sad at this point. Then Kiki comes in, Marceau's sworn enemy that was threatening to destroy his marriage. In the previews, we see Kiki and Tisha are gonna go at it. Tisha is gonna get dramatic, talking about Kiki wanting to team up with people that wanted to destroy her marriage. It's gonna be off the chain, like Miss Wanda said. And then we see the Whitlows having their issues. These are like my least interested couple. Like, I'm least interested in their stuff. Then we have Kimmy trying to be the so-called peacemaker, and we know that people that decide to put themselves in that position are literally just messy people. Like, they're just messy, and that is essentially what it is. If these people are continuing to tell you they're not gonna go work well together, or they have issues that are unresolvable, stop trying to push it. Like, mind your business, period. But I know this is a show and they need drama. On another note, I feel as if Tisha's family can have their own separate reality show, and it would be fun to watch. Like, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this episode. For me, it was very boring. But let me know and see you next time. Bye bye.